Cześć, dzień dobry, witamy Was bardzo serdecznie. Dzisiaj mamy przyjemność gościć w naszej kancelarii pana Aleksandra Bakera z Griffin Trust w Liechtensteinie, który specjalizuje się w rejestracji i prowadzeniu fundacji prywatnych w Liechtensteinie. Zapraszam Was na krótką rozmowę. Alex, welcome to Poland. It's a very pleasure to host you in our law firm.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. At the beginning, maybe you can say something about the main purpose of private foundation in Liechtenstein.
Yes, absolutely. I think setting up a foundation is for the main reason of ring fencing assets for risk purposes. And what I mean with that is you want to protect your assets from various risks that you face personally, such as risks from creditors or risks of being kidnapped. Maybe you have a divorce, which can be costly. And of course, another reason is to plan for succession to the next generation. So many wealthy people, they don't want to give all their assets to their children in one go if something happens to them. So they put it in a foundation so their children and maybe grandchildren can receive these assets over a longer period of time.
Okay. And to be honest, what do you think, which purpose is more popular? Asset protection or succession planning?
That's a difficult question, Patricia. Well, I would say generally equal, but in this current time, I think political instability is a big topic with wars going on around the world, and a lot of people are looking to place their assets in a safe place, in a jurisdiction that's very politically stable, and you know, it's what we call geographic diversification.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. What is the main difference between trust and private foundation in Liechtenstein? And could you please something more about it?
Yes, of course. So they're very, well, you can achieve exactly the same thing with both trusts and foundations, but they are rooted in different laws. So trusts, they originate from England, from common law. And in common law, they have a distinction between legal ownership and beneficial ownership. So somebody can legally own an asset, but somebody can actually be beneficially entitled to it. So there's a split, and this is the basis of trusts. The trustee legally owns the asset, but the beneficiaries beneficially own it. With a foundation, it's different because a trust is not a legal entity. A foundation is a legal person. So it can own the assets in its own name, and it can enter into contracts as a legal person, and so on. But the purpose of the foundation is also to hold and manage the assets for the benefit of the beneficiaries.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand. But could you please say something more about this legal personality of private foundation? What does it mean for our client?
Mm-hmm. Well, having legal personality means that you're an entity and you can enter into contracts in your name, right? That's not the case with a trust. There, the trustee in its name enters into these contracts, but not as a legal entity.
Could you please say about the body foundation?
The foundation bodies. So, yes, a foundation basically consists of the founder. The founder is the person who initiates the setup of the foundation and provides the assets. And then you have the foundation council. It's like the board of directors of a company.
Mm-hmm. In Poland, for example.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So the foundation council manages the foundation on a day-to-day business in accordance with the terms of the foundation. And then the third one, it's like a triangle. The third one, you have the beneficiaries.
The most important.
Those are the most important because they receive the assets in the end. And these are the people whom the Foundation Council owes their duties to. Of course, but in the end, the founder's will, because the founder sets up the foundation and he determines the details of the foundation, the terms, what can the Foundation Council do, when shall the beneficiaries receive something and when not. So they really choose the terms, the founders.
Okay, so the founder is the brain of this whole machine, can I say it in this way?
Yes, I think you can. At least at the outset, the founder can choose the exact terms of the foundation within the confines of the law, of course. After the foundation is set up, it's the Foundation Council that carries out what the founder wanted. So the management of the foundation is done by the Foundation Council. Okay. And the founder can still talk to the Foundation Council, but often for asset protection purposes, it's important that the founder doesn't directly control anymore what happens.
Something more about this Foundation Council. Who can act in it?
In Liechtenstein, you need to have at least one Liechtenstein trustee in the Foundation Council.
Like you?
Like us. That's right. That's right.
The best choice.
Yes, I mean, anybody is good, hopefully, but we're better.
Of course.
No, jokes aside, you can have anybody else in the Foundation Council. You can even have a law firm or a representative of the client or even the client himself. There you just have to watch out about where the place of effective management ends up in the end. See, if you have two Foundation Council members in Poland and they can make decisions and you only have one in Liechtenstein, well, then the place of effective management could move to Poland, so one has to be careful there. It could have negative tax consequences, so when one plans a foundation, one needs to think about these things, yes.
We don't recommend. Okay, please tell, can the founder supervise somehow the Foundation Council?
Yes, absolutely, and I think that's of paramount importance to create these checks and balances. Because you do give the management of the foundation and the assets, you hand over to the Foundation Council. So it's really important, A, that you trust the Foundation Council, but my mantra is don't trust anybody. So you need to build in checks and balances, so some way to be able to at least kick out the Foundation Council if he doesn't do the right things or he doesn't act in the interests of the beneficiaries anymore. And for that we recommend setting up a protector. So a protector is a person which is also reflected in the foundation law that can have certain rights over the Foundation Council. So you know, the protector has the right to fire and appoint new Foundation Council members, but can also receive additional veto rights or the right to consent to distributions, to consent to changes to the foundation articles, for example, so that there's an element of oversight and control, but not too much control, which would then have negative consequences for asset protection purposes. So it's always a fine line to choose the middle way.
Okay, and which middle way you recommend in this way?
It always depends on the exact situation. Where is the founder resident? Where is the protector resident? But generally, the definition of control, at least under Liechtenstein, only relates to the right to be able to control what happens with the foundation assets. So if a person has the right to direct the Foundation Council where to transfer assets, that is control. But if a person only has the right to appoint or remove Foundation Council members, that is not under the definition of control. And in most places, most tax authorities do not consider that sufficient control for these purposes. So my recommendation is to set up a protector, to give that protector the power to appoint and remove foundation council members. And the protector can be the founder himself, but ideally not, because if the founder has too many different offices, depending on where he lives, it can have negative consequences tax-wise, for example.
Okay. So I think that this is a good time to move on the money.
Well, in this day and age, geographic diversification, is definitely a topic, and don't put your eggs all in one basket, right? And it's with investments, it's diversification, but also with where are your assets placed geographically and where are they owned?
Mm-hmm. And how much the initial capital?
For a Liechtenstein foundation, it's 30,000 euros, or Swiss francs or US dollars. So there are these three currencies.
Okay, great.
Yes, and
what we can buy for it?
Well, there are minimum taxes in Liechtenstein for foundations of 1,800 Swiss francs. So, these are costs that would be covered. The costs of the trustee can be covered from this capital, and other ongoing costs. So this initial capital is meant to keep the foundation afloat for the first couple of years.
Okay.
But ideally, the foundation generates its own income to cover for this, right?
The best solution.
Yeah.
Okay, suppose the foundation is already established, yeah? Can the founder contribute additional asset to this foundation?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Anytime, any asset that he wishes. And it's even possible that persons who are not the same person as the initial founder can contribute assets. Okay. So if you have a father who sets up the foundation and the son also owns some assets, the son can also add these. The son then becomes a founder as well.
Okay.
But it's possible.
Okay. And what with tax from the contribution, this asset to the foundation?
In Liechtenstein,
yeah.
Yes, there's no taxes on an asset contribution
Great.
to a foundation. It always depends where you live. Sometimes there are gift taxes in the jurisdiction of residence of the founder, but
Yeah,
this needs a case-by-case analysis. Yeah.
Okay. And the last question, the most important, what do you know better solution to asset protection than private foundation in Liechtenstein? In Europe or farther away?
Yes, well, I mean, I'll say it as it is. There's no better solution than a private foundation in Liechtenstein. There are other jurisdictions as well that offer trusts and foundations. Each of them has different sets of laws. You need to look at certain sets of laws in order to determine how robust the asset protection is. Just judging it from Liechtenstein's perspective, it's fairly robust. For example, Liechtenstein doesn't recognize foreign judgments automatically, apart from judgments out of Switzerland and Austria. So it means that if you want to enforce a foreign judgment against a foundation in Liechtenstein, you have to start a whole new court case, which is quite a big hurdle. There's anti-creditor protection, let's call it that way, where a creditor cannot really seek to attach foundation assets when he's looking to recover them, unless within a certain period of time he can actually prove that the founder put the assets into the foundation in order to defraud him. And that is often quite difficult to do. So yeah, I think with that, foundations are a great tool, so are trusts, and Liechtenstein is a good jurisdiction for that. And I hope I was able to answer all the questions.
Thank you very much for this interview.
Welcome. Very welcome.
A Wam dziękuję bardzo za to, że wysłuchaliście nas do końca, mam nadzieję. Na pewno nie da się wyczerpać tematu Fundacji Prywatnej w Liechtensteinie podczas jednego spaceru, także my idziemy dalej podziwiać Wrocław, ponieważ Pan Aleksander jest tutaj pierwszy raz, a Was, jeśli macie dodatkowe pytania, to zachęcam do kontaktu z naszą kancelarią. Dziękujemy.